Hi, this is Sarah O'Connell.
And this is Jonah Treebwasser. That's Radio Rotary. That's Radio Rotary.
To another edition
That's
of Radio
Rotary.
Rotary.
Every Friday morning at 9, right here on Hudson Valley Talk Radio. Let me remind our listeners they're in tune with Radio Rotary on Hudson Valley Talk Radio and around the world by podcast and on iTunes and at www.radiorotary.org.
And today our special guest is our incoming District Governor, Tan Suk Dorawala, who will be talking to us about Rotary's Clean Water Initiative.
Since I was about 8 or 10 years old, I have been interested in making water available. I had been exposed to waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid, malaria, diarrhea, and I actually personally suffered from some of those. So having been through that, I learned the value of safe drinking water as well as personal hygiene. Yes, these are filters that are for individual families. They are about the size of an office water cooler. They are filled with sand on top, and underneath there's gravel. And the family is able to use this kind of filter for about 30 gallons per day.
This is one with Bunny Webb discussing Rotary's major focus, the eradication of polio.
Polio Plus is Rotary's promise to the children of the world that they will live in a polio-free world. I went over to this one infant. He opened his mouth, and as I began to put the drops in, he opened his eyes. And I will never forget those big black eyes looking into my eyes. And I had to stop. And I just looked up and I said, "Dear God, I thank you for Rotary."
And in this interview, Ed Frank and Howard Golden, both Vietnam vets, described their experiences meeting former Viet Cong while implementing a project to build schools in Vietnam.
Schools to End Poverty is a foundation that Howard and I co-founded in 2005, and we started as a result of a trip back to Vietnam.
We were on the beach having lunch. Sitting next to us was a group of Vietnamese nationals having lunch, hearing Americans speaking, and asked would we join them for lunch. They were a local Viet Cong guerrilla group meeting on the 35th anniversary of the fall of Vietnam and wanting us to join them.
They sat there and first of all they thanked us for visiting their country. They also said thank you, so much better to stand here as older men toasting each other with a soda or a can of beer than behind the butt of a rifle. Talk about closure, that was it.
Yeah. In this interview, Rhinebeck High School's Interact students describe their work in a Nicaragua community. Rotary clubs introduce high school students to the rewards of service through Interact, a service club. Sarah Turpin, Interact co-president for Rhinebeck, says,
We built far more than classroom gardens and water systems in Nicaragua. We built friendships and understanding with truly wonderful people. We naively went into this impoverished, developing nation expecting to change their lives, only to have the people there that we met open our eyes and change our lives.
Louis Turpin, Rhinebeck Rotary president, shared with us, these amazing young people have a true passion for world service. Their desire to place service above self is infectious and bodes well for the future of our world. My fellow Red Hook Rotarian Nikki Weaver and her therapy dogs, for example, visit local people suffering from illness in hospitals or at home.
We have a therapy dog. Her name is Molly. Molly is a golden retriever. She's 11 years old, and she's been working as a therapy dog since she's been 6 months old. There was a patient in therapy, orthopedic therapy, that had a stroke. Molly turned to her left side and started nosing her left hand. And
her left hand was not
working at the time? Her left hand was not working, but I did not know this at that time. So finally, the woman did. She picked up her left hand with her right, put it on Molly's head, and proceeded to pet her. And she also started to talk to Molly, which they said she hasn't talked since the stroke.
That's incredible.
We're very proud of Molly.
One of the 5 deadliest hurricanes in history, Katrina, hit Louisiana hard in 2005, wiping out whole communities. Support came from all over the world, especially Rotary clubs. Rotary District 7210's District Governor Doris Obremski teamed up with Louisiana Rotary Clubs to learn what was needed and then sent trucks filled with generators, new school uniforms instead of secondhand clothing, school supplies, book bags used later for books but immediately for families to store food and belongings during relocation, and, what was needed most, nearly 130 appliances.
Another special favorite interview of mine shows support given by one of the many Rotary clubs worldwide after the disaster of 9/11.
I created a little committee called the 9/11 Committee.
You were able to collect $1.4 million.
Presidents of Rotary clubs all over the world, from every country imaginable, were emailing me. They knew I was the president of a New York City club. From Lebanon, from Israel, from France, from England. Helen, what can we do? How can we help?
38,000 people listening across the Hudson Valley. In a minute, tell them why they should become Rotarians.
Oh, if you want to be able to have your best skills come out and feel that there is still hope in the world and you want to give hope to others, join us.
For Sarah O'Connell, this is Jonah Tree-Bossa thanking you for tuning in and inviting you to join us again next Friday morning at 9 for another edition of Radio Rotary right here on Hudson Valley Talk Radio.